Imagine losing someone you love. And then God shows up, like face to face. What do you say to him? I bet you'd say something like, "Why didn't you stop this? Why did this happen? How could you let this happen?" That's exactly what we see come out of Mary and Martha's words after their brothers died. Mary and Martha hear that Jesus has finally come. They sent word days before. Their brother died. They've put him in the tomb. 4 days later, Jesus, who they know to be a powerful healer, a teacher, they believe he's actually the Son of God, shows up on the scene. Both women, when they come face to face with Jesus, say, "If you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died." Now, it's easy for me when I read the Bible to read that in a very peaceful tone, like, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother wouldn't have died." But I have to imagine in this moment that they knew the person with power to stop this did not, that these women are angry, that they're hurting, and they're confused. And what I love about their response is their honesty. These women have the courage to be honest with Jesus about what they're feeling in this moment, which is perplexed, despair. If you had been here, you could have stopped this. Sometimes I think when we bump up against hard things, we're not honest with God in the same way. We either try to keep God at arm's length, or we try to perform for God, to recite the right answers, that we know that God is still good, that we know that death is not the end, all of these cognitive truths that we know, but we keep our hearts somehow separate. And I think what God wants from us in our grief, in our hardest moments, in our pain points, is our honesty. That's what I'm taking this morning from our reading through John 11 about Lazarus dying. These women who loved their brother are in grief. They're not holding back from their grief. They're mourning and wailing, beating their chest and shaking their fist at the skies. And when Jesus, the King of the universe, shows up, they're honest. "Why didn't you do something about this? You could have." Jesus meets them right where they are. So my question for us as we read and reflect, where is your pain point? Where are you facing trouble? And are you being honest with God? If God were looking at you from across the table and you were not holding back, what is it you would say? And can you write that down today? Write it down as a prayer, knowing that God is big enough, kind enough, patient enough, and wise enough to hold your honesty, just like he does with Mary and Martha.